Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. We're going to have a wee look today at the benefit system and its kind of impact on poverty. It is very much going to be kind of touching on the surface of a lot of things today. We've only got an hour. I always use this as my prop when I'm discussing benefits and day training. This is one of the resources I use, the Child Poverty Action Group's handbook. So you can see there how thick that is, and that's because within the benefit system, there are loads and loads of different rules and regulations and who can get what and when. So a lot of the things I'm going to be discussing today, it will very much be skating over the surface of them. And if I mention things that you find interesting, you think I'd really like to find out more about that, we will be running a full day's session and introduction to benefits on the 25th of November if you've been interested in signing up for that. So I'm just about to share some slides. So hopefully you guys will be able to see this. Can everybody see that okay? Aye. If we have any questions as we go through, please just give me a shout. When I'm speaking, I tend to just focus on what's in front of me, so I'll probably not catch on if you put anything in the chat. So if there's anything comes up that you really want to ask, just stop me and I'll do my best to give you an answer. So today we'll be looking at the role of the benefit system and welfare rights in reducing poverty. So I just thought we would start with some basic facts about poverty in Scotland. 24% of children in Scotland are living in poverty, and that's from the Scottish Government's figures, so quite a high number. 70% of children in Scotland live in a household where somebody works. So the indication is that a lot of the time it's seen as work is the route out of poverty. And what we're increasingly seeing is that might not necessarily be the case because it's perfectly possible for a child to be in a household where somebody works and yet still meet the criteria to be defined as living in poverty. Rates are higher for lone parent families and where a family member has a disability. So again, we're starting to see some indicators where a child is more likely to be grown up in a household where poverty exists, where there are increased barriers, be that health-based or in the makeup of the family. 15% of pensioners in Scotland are in poverty as well. That's obviously been in the news recently with the winter fuel payment and the changes to that, about how that's going to impact some of the low-income pensioners. 38% of universal credit claimants are actually in employment as well. A lot of the time, universal credit is kind of seen as being a benefit for people who are out of work. And as we can actually see, there are actually a significant number of people in receipt of universal credit where they are actually in paid employment. That could be because they maybe get help with things like childcare, they maybe have disabilities, or it could just be that the nature of the work that they're in is either low paid, part-time, or perhaps the type of work that you're looking at 0 hours contracts, and they're maybe just not being offered enough work so that they earn enough to completely remove them from the universal credit system. 58% of women are more likely to have no work-related requirements. Again, we'll just be touching briefly on things today, but within universal credit, there are categories in terms of what people will be asked to do in return for their money. And you can actually see some kind of gender splits within that when you dig down into the figures. Women are more likely to have things like childcare requirements that can reduce what's being asked of them. And men kind of more likely to be in the sort of general all work related group. There's also a myth when we look at poverty in the benefit system. You'll hear this regularly, that there is a culture of worklessness and that's passed through generations. People are absolutely convinced that they know of families where there's maybe 3 generations of the same family who have never worked. The Joseph Rowntree Foundation done the most recent research on this that I'm aware of, and they were unable to find a single family where that applied. So they looked for generations of families where they could find 3, where there had never been paid employment in the household, and they just simply couldn't find it. They did find some instances of 2 generations, but that was extremely rare. There's been a couple of studies on this, and as of yet, there is just no evidence that this exists. But it's a kind of pervading myth that one of the reasons you're in poverty is you don't have paid employment, and as we can see, that's not necessarily in